You want some advice? Take your fancy clothes and your black silk underwear and go back to Disneyland.
Take 58. Welcome back to the Man of Media channel. This is James. Today we're doing a long overdue video. It's a Criterion pickups video. Sort of recent. It's a mix. It's over like the past, basically the Criterions I've bought in the past since the last Criterion sale. So yeah, it's been a while, but it's ranging from Barnes&Noble, Target, Best Buy, and then a local store that sells Criterions. It's like a trade-in store, physical media store. But so I got 3 bags here, about 15 Criterions, and I'm just gonna stick my hand in the bag, one of the bags, pull a movie out, briefly talk about it, and I just wanted to do this video as to sort of build some hype for the upcoming Criterion sale. It's already June 24th, and I think the sale starts July 2nd, so I'm getting hyped for it, and I wanted to build some more hype. I wanted to put a video out there to get people, I don't know, whoever 15 people see this video, get excited for it. So here we go. Let's begin. First Criterion. The Game. David Fincher. Not really talked about too much. People always reference, I talk about, Fight Club, 7, even Alien 3 over this, but I really like this movie. It's Michael Douglas back when he had his little renaissance sort of in the 90s. Yeah, it's like a David Fincher's like Hitchcock style thriller. Some people say it's a little too contrived. I don't know. I enjoyed it. It's probably one of my top 5 Finchers. All right. So number 2, Rafifi. I think I got this from Target. I saw this once, and me and my friend of mine, we talked about this years ago. He told me it was one of the handful of movies that inspired The Town by Ben Affleck. Another one being like The Game, and I think Thief. Oh, and The Friends of Eddie Coyle. But yeah, this one though, this is a as you can tell from the cover, it's a heist movie, jewelry heist. I think it's 50s. Yeah, 1955. Black and white. Very well done. Highly recommended. Very tight. Very well thought out. It's very, for its time, I think it's very, they covered all the bases, you know what I mean? Like, as far as planning the heist goes, there's a lot of going into the buildup of the heist and planning it and getting every angle right, you know what I mean? So I thought that was pretty cool. I love the cover too, that blue and yellow just pops. But number 3, Scanners. Everyone knows Scanners. David Cronenberg, telekinetic sci-fi horror. To be honest, it's not one of my favorite David Cronenberg movies. But I felt it's been a while since I've seen it. It's been about 6-7 years. So honestly, I bought it because David Cronenberg's one of my favorite directors, and I wanted to give it another shot because I know it's really good and it's iconic, and I felt like if I'm going to give it another shot, it's going to be the Criterion. So I'm going to read the booklet, watch the special features, and 6 years ago. So I was more ignorant than I am now. So I want to give it its due. So I've only seen it a few times. All right, number 4. We have Perfect Weapon, starring Jeff Speakman. All right, no. Great movie. I don't care. Perfect Weapon. I grew up on that. I wore that VHS tape out. But true number 4, we have Kagemusha. Akira Kurosawa. I think this, 1980. I haven't seen this one. I'm a big fan of Akira Kurosawa. I haven't seen all his movies, but the 6 or so that I've seen, he's easily up there my favorite directors now. Like, currently, for the past few years, currently I'd say I would put Ran at number 1. Just, I was blown away by Ran, especially at the age he was. You know, that was what, 85? And he was in his 70s, and he had like 30% vision left, and he shot that epic, the retelling of King Lear, and just the staging and the war, the battle scenes. It was amazing. It's like you take a time machine back to ancient, to Japan. And it's inspired Saving Private Ryan. It's just amazing. So this, and I love samurai films, so Kagemusha was an easy purchase for me. Number 5, another Kurosawa, High and Low, Toshihiro Mifune. Not a samurai film, which I was intrigued by, since it's, Akira Kurosawa, 1963. I hear a lot of people recommending this one, and if it's Akira Kurosawa, you don't even need a recommendation. You know it's going to be good. So, yeah, I'm excited to watch High and Low, and I got this from Target. Number 6, another Kurosawa, The Hidden Fortress. I have seen this, and I loved it. This another one inspired the likes of George Lucas, Star Wars, Steven Spielberg. I owned this before, this Criterion before. I ordered it online, and it came with like a huge, like a box cutter sliced through the cover, through the book was sliced in half. I'm like, I can't own this. I can't disrespect Kurosawa like that. So I resold that, and I bought this last year. And this, I thought this was going out of print because I couldn't find this anywhere. And it was pretty expensive on eBay. It was like $60, like 58 something. So luckily, like two or three towns over, there was a Barnes&Noble, and I called them. They had one in stock, and the lady was nice enough to ship it to my store. And this was one of the first ones I bought last year during the sale, so I was pretty pumped to get this. But yeah, Hidden Fortress, amazing. So number 7, we have Sam Peckinpah, Straw Dogs. Now, a good friend of mine, who's an aspiring filmmaker, we're both from Fresno, California, so Sam Peckinpah is from Fresno, California. So you got a highly acclaimed director like that from your hometown, you want to pay attention to this guy. And so, he's made famous, classics like The Wild Bunch and Getaway. I've only seen 3 of his movies so far, 3 or 4, but the 3 that I've seen are some of his lesser known movies. Like, I've seen The Deadly Companions, which is like a Western. I've seen Convoy with starring Chris Christopherson, who like co-directed it, because at that time, late in his career, Sam Peckinpah was pretty strung out on drugs and alcohol. I don't want to slander the guy, rest in peace, but if I remember correctly, I think he was pretty, like, he was on that Betty Crocker, you know what I mean? yeah, but this is 1971, so this is before he got fed up, I guess, so to speak, in his career. But Convoy was still good. I still enjoyed it. It's like a truck driving sort of road trip movie in a way. Takes place, or it was like 78, 77. But yeah, it wasn't bad. And then the third I've seen is The Osterman Weekend with Rutger Hauer, which was it was good. I enjoyed it, but I know it's not like the true Sam Peckinpah experience. And yeah, I'm a fan of Dustin Hoffman, and I'm also a fan of like these hardcore movies like this. You know, I own Sallow and Caligula, Cannibal Holocaust. You know, so I'm no stranger to like intense hardcore movies like this. So I was excited to get Straw Dog Soup, and I got that from Barnes&Noble. So that's bag number 1, empty. Bag number 2, Criterion number 8. We have Wahane, directed by Nicholas Kasavitz. I'm probably saying that wrong. Matthew Kasavitz. Yeah, starring Vincent Cassel. This is a 1995 French film. The 90s they had this thing about doing these really realistic sort of in your face gut punch type of movies. You know what I mean? Like life, the indifference of life just and what it does to people. And so I haven't seen this, but I'm intrigued by it. And from what I've seen and heard about it, I feel it's one of those which I like. You know, and other examples of that would be like Kids. I think Fresh, starring Samuel L. Jackson, is another example. And in my opinion, I think the Pusher trilogy, directed by Nicholas Winding Refn, that's really like, if you like crime movies, Pusher, man, that's really in your face and raw, the way it's shot, everything. It just feels like you're following these shady guys around Europe. And another movie, like another example would be like Flubber. I think Flubber is really in your face. Okay, Lahane. Yeah, this, I was intrigued by it, and I wish I could say more about it, but I haven't opened it yet. So number 9, we have Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Terry Gilliam, Hunter S. Thompson, you know, his equally crazy novel about this reporter who goes out to Las Vegas to cover was it the Mint 400 race, and he takes his attorney out there with him, and they're just, you know, they're doing drugs the entire time, basically. I mean, it starts off with, we were somewhere outside of Barstow on the outskirts of the desert when the drugs begin to take hold. I mean, I think the book opens with that, so it's like right off the bat. And I haven't seen this movie in a good 5 years or so, but I've read the book recently, and it's hilarious. I never read a book that made me bust up laughing. So, yeah, I've read more other Hunter S. Thompson books. So, since I'm in that mind space right now, that headspace, I bought this to revisit it. And Johnny Depp's great. Benicio del Toro is Dr. Gonzo. So, yeah, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I probably don't need to say much. You guys already know. So next up, we got, this is, prior to this coming out, this was my number 1 like Criterion wish list. Then out of nowhere, they announced Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai. I love this movie. Jim Jarmusch, Forrest Whitaker, urban, modern, slums, inner city. This guy, he's an assassin. He practices the way of the samurai, like the way of the warrior, the code, Bushido, right? You know, he hangs out on rooftops and he reads this book, which I have the book. I'm a big fan of this movie, so I had to buy the book that he reads in the movie, Hecka Curry, and I first read this in high school. And I used to practice martial arts in high school, so I was really into reading up on stuff like this, and movies revolving around, you know, that sort of thing, samurai, martial arts, you know. So I bought the book, and this helped me master the dim mak technique.
What the hell is a dim mak?
Next up we have Gamora, which is I saw this once and it really impacted me, so I had to buy it. This is a really realistic take on the mafia, or the Cosa Nostra. You know, it takes place in Italy. It's in Italian, and it's just a really realistic take. You know, it's not stylized, hyper stylized. Nothing against, you know, Casino and Goodfellas. We all love those, right? Like, of course, those are masterpieces, but they're really fast paced and the dialogue's snappy and it's very stylized. But I love them. But still, nothing against them. But this is like a just a gut punch. Another one of those hard hitting, you know, realistic takes, looks at that way of life, and it was pretty interesting, and I'm excited to check it out again. Let's see. Next up, we got the Grand Budapest Hotel. I'm sure you've all seen this. Wes Anderson, probably one of his more famous ones, but I loved it. You know, Jeff Goldblum. Yeah, just a really fun movie. I think it was nominated for Best Picture that year in 2014. But yeah, Wes Anderson, I like most of his movies. I think there's another one right here. Yeah, Bottle Rocket, his first movie. Yeah, it's one of those really mellow. Another one of those. The 90s had this really calm, mellow vibe to it. It's almost like you weren't watching a movie. It's like you were hanging out with these people. It's hilarious on top of that. Owen Wilson and Luke Wilson back in their day. But yeah, Bottle Rocket. That's bag number 2 down. Number 3. Yeah. In the realm of the senses, I bought this at my local Blu-ray store, Rasputin Records. This was recommended by a YouTuber, Crazy Jason. He's really, he doesn't really upload anymore, but if you go back and watch his old stuff, he's pretty knowledgeable, and yeah, I trust his opinion. This is a pretty, what I've heard, I won't say too much about it, you can look it up. It's a pretty out there movie, but interestingly, I bought this used, and inside, whoever owned this previous, they found a newspaper clipping. I could be wrong. Maybe this comes with Criterions. It doesn't look like it, but it's a newspaper clipping of the director. And it's an article about this filmmaker made waves with Realm of the Senses from New York Times. Just talking about Japanese films and the forbidden love theme. So I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know. I've never seen that before. Someone added their own supplement to a Criterion. So I thought that was pretty cool. I wanted to share that with you guys. But yeah, in the realm of the senses, I'm gonna need to be in a mood to watch that. But let's see. Up next, we got another Kurosawa, Rashomon. I think this was the one that put Kurosawa on the map, if I'm not mistaken. You can correct me on that. Came out in 1950. Toshihiro Mifune. It's a classic. It's talked about all the time. It's referenced by, you know, once again, Steven Spielberg, George Lucas. I could be wrong, but in the book Rashomon, there's a book Rashomon, and it's in Ghost Dog Way of the Samurai. So that's how I first sort of got this in my head, this name Rashomon. So when I saw this, I was already interested in it. Before I think I even knew who Akira Kurosawa was. Like, oh, there's a movie about that. So yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but it was high on my list to get. I would buy all of his movies. But yeah, it's another one in the backlog. You know how it is when you're a movie collector, you buy so many movies and they sit there and you have like a mental note of all the movies you need to get to, and yeah, you know how it is. But 3 left, so we're about to close out here. Next up, we got Repo Man, Alex Cox, 1984, early Emilio Estevez, which is my favorite Emilio Estevez. I love his attitude he had back then, and this is like a quirky, low budget science fiction punk rock movie set in LA. I love that theme. I love that era. I love everything about that. So this was right up my alley, and I own this already on. I think it's like a Swedish steelbook, but it's kind of a hassle to watch. You have to. It's foreign language, the menu, so you kind of have to sift through and find the subtitles and everything, or the audio. But I love the steelbook, but I mean, come on, look at this cover. That's like one of the best Criterion covers out there. I couldn't, and I love Repo Man, Harry Dean Stanton, so I had to get this. Like I don't really double dip. I don't advocate double dipping, but there's a few exceptions. Flubber. I triple dipped on Flubber. But no, alright. Next up, Scorsese. Irishman. Say what you will about it. Some people don't like it. Some people say it was too long, it was bloated. Like I am. But no. I really enjoyed it. I think the de-aging obviously was a little off. It wasn't as good as it could have been, but no, I really enjoyed it. I didn't have a problem with the length. It has that grit that Scorsese always has, you know, like it was like an epic. It was like an epic. The story of Jimmy Hoffa, and finally the 4 legends came together. De Niro, Pacino, Pesci, Scorsese finally came together. I don't want to complain about that. I never thought that would happen. You know, I thought Joe Pesci was retired, and you heard when the movie was in pre-production, you heard he didn't want to do it and he wasn't on board, and then there it is. They made it happen. So Irishman. Finally, and last but not least, I wasn't initially going to get this because I already owned the previous box set, but then I saw it in person. I couldn't say no. It's the Bruce Lee box set, his greatest hits. The thing about the Bruce Lee movies is prior to this coming out, there might have been only one released that had all 5 movies on it. And it might have been, I think it was like a Chinese release, and it was really rare. I could be wrong, but this, finally, they have Enter the Dragon included because it's a copyright issue. They can only put the other four: Chinese Connection, Fist of Fury, Way of the Dragon, Game of Death. Yeah, so it was a kind of a hassle. I had to buy the steelbook of Enter the Dragon, and then I had the big book, sort of box set booklet of from Shout Factory, and it was a cool set, but they had like a weird bluish color correction issue with them, and I just figured, I mean, Criterion put this out. Why am I gonna? If I want the best version of his movies, I'm a huge Bruce Lee fan. I grew up. My mom got me into Bruce Lee when I was a super young age, 3 years old. I had young nunchucks, and I had the tapes, and I bought all the DVDs before, and I had the Blu-ray. So I'm a huge Bruce Lee fan. He's a huge inspiration, and so if Criterion put out his whole collection, there's no way I wasn't going to get it. So unfortunately, I sold off the Shout Factory collection. So this is the essential. If you're a Bruce Lee fan, I mean, this is perfect. All 5 movies. This is a huge. I know it's gonna be loaded with special features. I haven't dug into it yet, but yeah, it's gonna be a good time. So that closes out the Criterion pickups. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. The sale's in a week or so, so I'm getting hyped up for it. I got a few on my list that I'm eyeing, that I'm thinking about already. The Wong Kar-wai box set being the main one, because Chungking Express is included in it, and prior to that it was out of print and going for like $140 on eBay. So this, hopefully it's not the World of Wong Kar-wai isn't sold out. That's my main one I want to get. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll try to upload more frequently. I've been pretty busy lately, so I have a few videos in mind I want to do, and yeah. For whoever sees this, I want you to comment and drop some comments about some of the movies I talked about today, or tell me how stupid I look, or how cringy this video was. But yeah, I want to hear some feedback of the movies I talked about, and any corrections, that any mistakes I may have made. But yeah, I love film conversation. So yeah, I love talking about film, and you know, it's hard to find people who are like-minded. So yeah, please comment below about that. Just get some conversations going. Anyways, thanks. See you next time.
What the hell is a DMAC?